How's the week going, retro people? My name is Brad, this is Retro Style Spotlight, and this is your news, notes, history, and retro games to play for the week of April 26th, 2016. This week's tutorial on Unbroken Software Studios' YouTube channel was the long-awaited and frequently requested arcade tutorial. I walk you through a few ways of importing your games and two primary ways to emulate your arcade games with MAME and Retroarch. MAME is still fairly confusing though, so if you have any questions about it, please head on over to the forums and ask your questions. Don't forget that LaunchBox has a premium license as well that you can purchase for extra functionality, and Big Box, our media PC styled front end. There are games in life that never stop being modded, and Doom is one such game. A modder by the name of Demo the Doomer is recreating GoldenEye 007 from the N64 in the Doom engine, and it looks a lot like GoldenEye actually did. As you can see from the video, there are clear differences from this and the real GoldenEye 007. However, the fact that someone wanted to create this in Doom and go to all of the trouble of trying to make it authentic as possible is astounding. Doom is 20 years old, and there are still awesome mods like this popping up from time to time. Video game preservation is something that we wholeheartedly approve of here at Unbroken Software, and Galloping Ghost Arcade in Illinois has received a cancelled Beavis and Butt-Head Arcade machine, which was one of only 12 known out there. Developed by Atari and cancelled in 1996, this game is surprisingly playable. With certification that it was bought from an MTV auction in 1999, the documentation states that it was prototype 9 of 12 and was in great condition. With only a little minor restoration work needing to be done, the game is now playable at Galloping Ghost Arcade. The game is currently not backed up to the internet for everyone to enjoy yet, but it will undoubtedly be available for MAME sooner rather than later. Speaking of forgotten arcade games, a user by the name of Neo Turfmaster on the NeoGeo forums has uncovered an unknown and nameless fighting game. Costing 69,887 yen on Yahoo Auctions Japan, there is no identifying paperwork or title screens of anything to say where it came from other than that it was a Neo Geo fighting game. After some sleuthing with the board, Neo Turfmaster was able to get the game in a working state and has since dumped the ROM and donated it to the MAME project development team. With it now available for MAME, the hope is that someone out there will know what in the hell this game actually is called and who made it. A lot of 80s and 90s games are getting expensive or are hard to find, and that leaves us with emulation. Publishers and developers have started to step it up on Steam and release their games on that platform, but it is still not that great. However, Sega realizes that this entire market exists and wants to make things better for their fans. Sega has developed what is called the Sega Mega Drive Classics Hub, which is a front end for emulated Sega ROMs that people own on Steam. The Classics Hub, which includes support for more than 40 Genesis titles, will be available on April 28th as a free update for Steam users. It will support controllers, keyboards, optional graphics enhancement filters, and the ability to save at any point during gameplay. It also supports access to the Steam Workshop for all compatible titles. That means players will be able to share modified versions of their classic games, so what exactly does that mean? Sega wants Rom Hacks to be a real thing. Granted, you still need to own the games on Steam, and if you already do own the current offerings through Steam, there will be a free update on April 28th, 2016 that updates your purchases to the new system. Their custom front end will be, quote, based on a bedroom of an entirely 90s Sega fan. I think this is amazing. As someone who clearly loves emulation and retro video games, this is stupendously amazing. Sega has been dropping the ball in recent years, but in the past few months has been making promises that they need to change to stay relevant. Is this the start of a new Sega? If they were to rename this to the Sega channel, I would love that. I actually had that as a kid in the 90s. Thinking back, that was very ahead of its time. This month, in 1989, Nintendo of America introduces Enix's Dragon Warrior franchise to North America. Dragon Quest, published as Dragon Warrior in North America until 2005. Dragon Quest was created by Yuji Horii, who took inspiration from previous role-playing games such as Wizardry Ultima and his own 1983 title, The Portopia Serial Murder Case. Horii wanted to create an RPG which would appeal to the wide audience of people who were unfamiliar with the genre of video games in general. He tried to place a greater emphasis on storytelling and emotional involvement, as well as simplify the interface and expose the mostly Western computer genre to the Japanese console market. Manga artist and Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama produced the game's artwork, and Koichi Sugiyami composed its music. The North American version featured numerous changes, including battery-backed RAM save games rather than using a password save system, modified character sprites, and pseudo-Elizabethan English-style dialogue. Dragon Quest was commercially successful in Japan with more than 2 million copies sold. Its release as Dragon Warrior in North America and other Western countries was less favorably received. Later, Western critics noted that the game's shortcomings but acknowledged its importance to the genre. Its original pseudo-Elizabethan English script has been praised in many of these reviews. The game's sound effects have also been orchestrated, and its music has been performed at numerous concerts. As a whole, Dragon Warrior has been credited with establishing the basic template for the Japanese console RPGs that followed. So that was Retro Style Spotlight for the week of April 26th, 2016. All of the relevant links to everything you heard in this edition of RSS will be in the description below. Remember that you can sign up for a LaunchBox forum account to talk with us over there and ask your questions. Join our open Steam group to see what we're all playing and maybe play a game or two with us there. If you like LaunchBox and it has made your retro game collection look beautiful, then pick up a premium license for $20. You get extra features like big box mode, theming options, and tons more features to come in the future. We also have our LaunchBox games database now available for users to contribute to. If you have a few favorite games that are lacking in metadata or media, head on over to the games page on the database and make your desired edits. Jason and I have a lot planned for our community, so if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're doing a tutorial video every Friday and more entertainment type shows like this in the future. Let us know what you think of RSS and any feedback you may have on it. My name is Brad, and remember, Freaks and Geeks, to play more games, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day.